Like my friend Anita Krishna in Canada, she worked for a global news or a big news network. She started to ask just regular questions. She's like, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? We're a news organization. Isn't that what we do as a news organization? And she got fired for that, of course.
Crazy.
Ah, that never gets old. That never gets old. Thank you, Jimmy Dore, for mentioning me on Joe Rogan. Welcome back to the channel. It is 4:30 on Wednesday as I'm recording this video. I have been watching the French debate, so I've been dipping in and out watching. It's funny, I was started to watch the plebs coverage of it, and at one point, I think he had 4,000 people. And then I flipped over to CBC to see what they were doing, and they had 13,000. But what is remarkable is that, like, I think Elevate, Northern Perspective, the Pleb, like when you look at the thousands of people watching them live stream, it's incredible to me as someone who worked for network news, because clearly there's a new network going on, and the new network is social media and independents who have gained popularity. It's amazing to me, and it's so great to watch different types of coverage. One thing I was thinking about the debate is in the beginning of the debate, I have worked on many, many debates in my long career. Never, ever, ever would you cut the mic. And they literally are saying that when the debate begins, the moderator or whoever is saying, if you talk over one another, we will cut the mic. This is just like an absolute no-no, just an absolute, like, almost broadcasting rule you would never break. That's why you have a moderator. The moderator is supposed to moderate. I can't imagine ever cutting the mic of anyone, like, because in any situation, like, only TV people, if you've worked in broadcast news, leave me a comment. You know what I'm talking about. Or on live broadcast television, we don't cut mics. The only reason you might cut a mic is if someone went psychotic and deranged and started swearing on live TV. Then you might be like, okay, we got to cut the mic. But even then, you'd be like, that's good TV or something. You just don't cut the mics. And the fact that they're doing that is just an abomination to me. And they also do that in the States, because remember the J.D. Vance, Tim Walz VP debate. I think it was CBS that was like, we cut your mic. It is such a no-no, such a huge no-no. Anyway, the debate isn't telling me anything I don't already know or showing me anything I didn't expect. I will say, as much of a flip-flopper person that Jagmeet is, his French is pretty good. His French is pretty good. I find the translation a bit disarming or whatever, because you don't kind of, like, you're not familiar with who's speaking, so it's just, you're just listening to the interpreter, and I don't know, I find it weird, but I am looking forward to tomorrow. I just want to say to the English debate. Okay, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Moose on the Loose, who mentioned me on one of his podcasts when I had the two young door knockers come to the door. He described me as this lady, which I thought was adorable. Okay, that's funny. Some people in comments are saying that is the demographic that is not talked about, how the young people are feeling. So I was really happy to capture that moment. Okay, now moving on. It's 2025. It certainly is not 2022 with a trucker convoy bank freezing thing going on. But lo and behold, have you heard this? Somebody else just got their bank account frozen. She is somebody that ran for Vancouver East, I believe. So let me read this to you. The Canadian government froze my bank account just in time for the election. This is an article by Megan Murphy. She says here, as most of my followers know, I don't know who she is, but as most of my followers know, I left Canada in January 2021 out of genuine concern that if I didn't, I would never be able to leave. She tells her story. She went to Mexico. And then goes on to say, I still hadn't completely given up on the country. And with an election pending, I saw one last opportunity to fight for change. And she announced her candidacy for the People's Party of Canada. Her candidacy was confirmed on Tuesday. And then that same day, she tried to access her Vancity bank account. Actually, I'm going to put this banner up because I really want to cement this in that it was Vancity. Like, not good. When I contacted my bank, Vancity, was informed that my account had been frozen as per the direction of the government. I had accessed my account just 2 days prior, so the timing was clear. I had not been informed of this freezing by anyone, not by the bank, not the government. No one attempted to contact me. I was completely blindsided. When I contacted the bank, they refused to give me any information. They just said they were following orders. You know how I feel about following orders. And also, the guy that froze her bank account is now on vacation. I mean, can you believe this? In 2025, this isn't happening. This is happening. We're not talking about back then when they were, their government must really not like PPC. They must really have their bee in their bonnet by anybody associated with the PPC, the Canadian government in particular. But the PPC is all over the states. I mean, Maxime Bernier has been everywhere on PBD podcasts, and he was just on Tucker Carlson. I know there are people in Canada that support him and like him, and great, do what you want. I mean, fabulous. It's just, don't blow this. Don't go around vote splitting and blowing it. In a way, I feel like that. I'm conservative. I have no problem telling you that. I know who I want to be in. And so I don't need any meddling and mussing, but what will be, will be. Okay. Now, another thing, speaking of the PPC, my friend Jimmy Dore, or the Jimmy Dore, I love them, but recently they've had Viva Fry on, which is great. I mean, talk to everybody. Some people don't like Viva anymore. They feel he's left us and gone to Florida, and now he's like kind of crap talking everything or whatever. But I want to bring your attention to something he said on the Jimmy Dore show.
I'm not independent media, and I can understand why, Pierre, no one from the Conservatives will answer a question from me or come on a podcast, because first of all, I'm brash. I swear on Twitter. I'm too politically toxic. But I've heard these reports as well, and I'm friends with people on the ins who not taking questions that might be adversarial, not taking podcasts that might be somewhat confrontational. First of all, Pierre has been pulling a Kamala Harris, like in that he's not doing podcasts, whereas he should be, and he's done now 2 recent podcasts after the Jordan Peterson podcast, which was pre-election, and they're softballs. Like he says things that go, they don't push back, and that's the way he likes it.
Oh, please. I got to stop there. I don't think so. I really don't think that's true. Because what? You want to go on American podcasts because you think that PBD pushes back? PBD just had PBD doesn't know much about Canadian politics, and neither do a lot of these American podcasters. So the interview is not a difficult interview. It's as softball as you can get because the guest, can not play on the ignorance, but there is an ignorance there. So it is not a balls to the wall aggressive interview. It's more an interview out of curiosity, right? Like PBD is not going hard on Maxime. He's just more learning about Canadian politics. So I disagree.
Well, here, let me just play this. I also got this from your Twitter feed. This is the CBC complaining about this. Let's listen.
This is our last day with the Conservative campaign, and we have faced some very tough message control from the party, not only breaking with tradition in the sense that we are not allowed to accompany the campaign, but also we've seen great control over the questions. We have not been allowed to ask any questions during the week that we've been with the.
I wouldn't want you on the plane either. And I'm surprised that's even a thing that politicians do. When your day is done, when you've given all you've had to give as a politician, whether you like the person or not, you are entitled to your privacy. You are entitled to put your pajamas on and sleep on the plane and relax. Like you don't have to always be on. I would not like that, the press on the plane. Personally, I don't know how you guys feel about that.
The Conservatives, today we made an effort to get a question, and they told us that we could ask one, but that it had to be my colleague Tom Parry who asked the question. We responded that I was the one who had the question, and we preferred that I asked it. At that point, they took our question away and gave it to another outlet. We've also seen efforts to find out what reporters are going to ask, to pressure them to reveal what their question will be.
What do you mean took your question away and gave it to another outlet? A lot of you media types get a question from their producer, get a question. When they go to these press conferences, they don't sometimes allow the reporter to ask the questions of their own volition. They are given a directed question. They are given questions to answer a lot of times.
Before the news conference. And of course, that's asked before the party decides who gets to ask a question. And we've also seen some fairly heavy-handed treatment by Conservative Party staffers, including some pushing and shoving, as we saw on the public wharf at Petty Harbour in Newfoundland. So it's been a difficult week. It's difficult to get the same level of accountability from the Poilievre campaign as it has been from past Conservative campaigns or from the other parties.
Yeah, CBC is like CNN on steroids. F them, and they don't deserve to have a seat there.
Okay.
Flip side is, I don't think you should be open and transparent and take the CBC's question. But when I watch that part, and I'm like, okay, the CBC trying to paint Pierre Poilievre in a bad light, do I trust the CBC even by their own words on their own face, where they say, yeah, they wanted, they were going to take the question, but it was the other guy, and we said, no, it has to be me. Sounds like they're acting like a bunch of jackasses, making demands, and then when their opportunity lapses, then they try to paint it as a Pierre Poilievre fault. I don't know which way to go with that, because I don't trust the CBC. They will go out of their...
I wouldn't trust the CBC either, and I've never heard of that they give that editorial question to another news outlet. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. Is that I've never heard of that. It seems like a bit of a fabricated story on behalf of the CBC, but I don't actually know.
But I do know that, at least from immediate evidence, and it hasn't been disproven, that the campaign has been excluding or putting people on the outs and forcing even their own patrons to like dress in appropriate attire, not appropriate, politically
Oh God. Here he's going to start to tell a story here. Okay, here, listen.
appropriate attire, where there was a video of a guy that I know, Pleb the reporter, who's live streaming at these events. And you're like, when I was live streaming in Ottawa, I said, we're going to see what's going on here for good or for bad. If they're pissing all over the war memorial, we're going to see it. If they're spray painting swastikas on Terry Fox, we're going to see it. They weren't. But this guy, Pierre, Pleb the reporter, was at a rally, and somebody's driving off in their car, seemingly miffed. And they say, hey, Pleb, why don't you want to talk to me? Pierre asked me to take off this hat, which was a Make Canada Great hat. Make Canada Great Again hat. And then Pleb's like, well, did you take it off and go on the thing? He's like, hell no, I'm not taking off a freaking hat, let alone a Make Canada Great Again hat. And so I do know they're doing some things which I think are tremendously stupid. They want to dissociate themselves as much as possible from Trump and anything Trump related, to the point where they're making people take off maple MAGA hats.
Hey, I saw a lot of maple MAGA hats at the rally that I went to. They fell off of people's heads and they were confiscated and put on a table. I'll link a funny video about that and how CTV just wrote an article about how many hats were confiscated. I don't think I personally was there at the Surrey rally, and there is no way with all those people there that anybody from the Conservative Party would say, please take off that hat. I think this is probably a fabricated story also. And who knows if that guy wasn't a plant. And another thing, talk about plant, the Liberals and their button gate, putting, stop the steal and lock Justin up and Corey Tenike and crossing out the other lady's name. They literally paid for those buttons. You know what I mean? The Liberal Party paid for the buttons, because you don't get buttons printed out of nowhere. You have to order them, get them printed, decide what to put on them, and somebody has to pay for that. So you have to get the party to cut you a check. They're probably using Ruby Dalla's money, and you have to at the very least get petty cash to give you money. That's how this works. You think those little Liberal people are gonna, employees or volunteers are gonna go like pay for the buttons themselves? No, they're paid for. So that button thing, even though it might seem like a stupid thing, it is quite a big thing, because it was planted, dropped there, and it's the Liberals that criticize others for misinformation and disinformation and conspiracy and stuff like that. It's like, you are peddling misinformation because you made those buttons and dropped them around the Conservatives and that conservative event, and that is also propaganda. You're trying to, that's propaganda. When you see like a sign that says, stop it, do you have COVID, don't come in this building, that's all propaganda. And for the Liberals to say, well, okay, never mind then, sorry about that, I don't like it, they've been reassigned, is not good enough. Okay, but back to this.
Okay, so, I've seen videos of Pierre taking on adversarial reporters. He's very good at it.
Very good at it.
He really, you can't help but almost cheer for him when he has an interaction with these guys. And so it seems like missed opportunity. Like you should take it, because every time
absolutely. Well, the Apple video I thought was a little. What's the word?
That was a great video, I
It's a
think.
good video.
But it went
He
viral.
was trying to
And the
stand
one where he
Oh,
says, "Well, I'm not familiar. How many genders are there?" And with the report, I mean, those go viral. Why the hell hasn't he been doing that now? It's. If you want to get tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, it's almost like he prefers being a feckless opposition as opposed to a leader.
Oh, I have to disagree with that. Once he's done the thing, he's done the thing. He's done an Apple video. It's out there. We can all see it. Once he's, and he's taken on reporters. I think these are all very genuine cases. I don't think he's trying to recreate something to be known as, oh, the gotcha guy. I think he's just very natural. Anyway, okay. The other thing that I saw on the Jimmy Dore show with Viva, which is interesting that they brought this to my attention because I certainly didn't see this on the news at all, was, oh my God, this journalist getting just absolutely brutally manhandled of Palestinian protest. And it was Alexa Lavoie that captured all this from Rebel News. This was crazy.
Pour qui vous travaillez pour Rebel News, juste pour vous interposer. Yeah, just go for it.
You can't touch me.
Tu peux pas me toucher, monsieur? J'ai le droit de vous toucher, vous vous tasser.
I'm not talking to you. I'm just telling you, don't fucking touch me, okay? I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. You are literally touching me.
You touch me.
Get your hands off me.
Oh, look.
Get your hands off me.
He absolutely started it. He was in her face, such aggressive body language. She just put her arm out, and then he took the opportunity to jump on her. And then these four guys jumping on this woman. This is disgusting. If you call yourself police officers, if you call this doing good police work, shame on you. You are disgusting. She's very calm and she's probably in a lot of pain. I didn't actually see everything that preceded this, but it looks like she's just standing there. And the one officer went very aggressive to her, and then it ended up like this. I don't see on camera anywhere where she did something wrong. What a brute.
This is a story you need to hear, and I urge you to watch the footage we captured. It's critical. Freedom of the press is under attack, and it's happening right in front of us. The truth is being silenced, but we are here to show you what others won't dare touch.
So aggressive. Actually, if you watch the whole report, they are so aggressive to Alexa Lavoie, and she has to deal with a lot. She is very tough. They had a security guard with her, but she was almost tougher than he was. But it is just brutal. And the way some of the people, I'm not saying everybody at that protest was deranged or behaving like that, but there are a lot of losers. And it reminded me, one time I went to the Million March for Kids, and all the that side of people were all aggressive lunatics, don't make any sense, in your face, or blocking your camera, or blowing their blowhorns, just acting like not even children would act as stupidly as that. So I really disappointed to see the police do that to the journalists. And you can even hear one of them say, "Oh, you're with Rebel News." I mean, it's a protest. And you can discuss the merits of Palestine and Israel. That's a whole conversation that needs to be had. But let the reporter report. At one point, even a police officer said to Alexa, what are you doing here? What is your purpose here? I'm covering this story that no one else is really covering, that others are not covering, because I didn't see this in the news at all. And also another thing, when I see all the protesters like that, and then I see the cops really not doing anything and actually attacking journalists trying to cover, it makes me so angry when I think of people who stood up for your medical freedom to not take something that you shouldn't have been taking because the news lied about the safety of the thing. And when I see people stand up and go, "No, this is too much," then I see our government call the police on them. Anyway, oh, thank you for watching this video today. I'll try to do a happy one a little later. If you like my channel, please subscribe and like the video if you did like this video. And I'll be back with another maybe happier video a little bit later. Okay. Okay. Take care. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.